My name is Kat Matic. I'm your Title IX coordinator here at Dickinson College. I am your resource for information about your options and support services if you or someone you know has experienced sexual or gender-based discrimination or harassment. Even if you are unsure of whether you are subject to sexual or gender-based harassment, I can help. You are always welcome to call or email me and we can discuss your situation. I can provide you with information about your options and available support services in connection with your experience. Dickinson College prohibits sexual and gender-based misconduct. We are committed to a safe and non-discriminatory environment for all of our students, employees, and even campus guests and visitors. Dickinson College prohibits sexual harassment and gender-based misconduct in all of our programs and activities, including academics, employment, athletics, admissions, and other extracurricular activities. The college is committed to taking all appropriate steps to eliminate sexual and gender-based harassment, prevent their recurrence, and address their effects. Dickinson College is an inclusive environment, and these educational and employment rights are yours regardless of race, color, gender, religion, national origin, disability, age, sexual orientation, or veteran status. Each member of the Dickinson College community has the right to study and work in an environment free from any form of sexual or gender-based discrimination. You can make a report of any concerning sexual or gender-based misconduct incident online through our college's Title IX and Sexual Respect Office webpage under File a Report. It is important for you to know that the college wishes to eliminate barriers to reporting. This is why we have an amnesty policy for students who've experienced sexual misconduct or who have witnessed such prohibited conduct. This means that the college will not seek to hold students accountable for violating the college's drug and alcohol policies due to their own personal ingestion of alcohol or other drugs at or near the time of the alleged incident. We want you to report so that the college can stop, prevent, and remedy sexual misconduct, and so that you can get the help that you need in connection to your experience. So let's talk about Title IX. Title IX is a federal civil rights law in the United States that was passed as part of the Education Amendments of 1972 that states no person in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, be excluded from participation in, be denied the benefits of, or be subjected to discrimination under any education program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. This means that students and employees have the right to live, study, work, and participate in college events, programs, and activities free from sexual or gender-based harassment. Dickinson College's sexual harassment and misconduct policy, which you can find on the Title IX and Sexual Respect webpage, addresses sexual harassment and other forms of sexual misconduct, including, but not limited to, sexual assault, non-consensual sexual contact, sex and gender-based discrimination, dating violence, domestic violence, stalking, and retaliation. So what is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment is any unwelcome or unwanted conduct on the basis of sex that is so severe, pervasive, and objectively offensive that it effectively denies a person equal access to the college's education program, activity, or employment, or when submission to or rejection of such conduct is used as the basis for an employment or academic decision, or the conduct rises to the level of sexual assault, non-consensual sexual contact, dating violence, domestic violence, or stalking. It is important to know that all of these forms of prohibited sexual harassment can include verbal, written, online, or physical conduct. Let's take a look at an example. Let's say a student in your online class repeatedly sends sexually explicit jokes and images in the chat feature, which is intended for the class's online group work. Because there are many other groups, your faculty hasn't really checked into the chat and has not really seen these jokes or images. While many students are ignoring the jokes, you and a few other students are uncomfortable, and you have avoided the online study group so that you do not see the messages or images. When a member of the group asks why you have not been engaged in doing your part of the work, you say it's because of the jokes in the chat thread. Some students have even asked the person to stop sending these jokes and images, but the sexual jokes and images continue. The jokes and images are interfering with your engagement in the study group and ultimately the class that you are enrolled in. The student that is persisting in sending these types of messages and images is considered to be creating a hostile environment through sexual harassment. What is gender-based harassment? Gender-based harassment is behavior consisting of verbal, nonverbal, graphic, or physical aggression, intimidation, or hostile conduct based on sex, sex stereotyping, sexual orientation, or gender identity, but not involving conduct of a sexual nature. That is so severe, pervasive, and objectively offensive that it effectively denies a person equal access to the college's education program, activity, or employment. What is sexual assault? Sexual assault is attempted or actual penetration of the vagina, anus, or mouth, however slight, by an object or body part without consent. Sexual assault includes rape, incest, or statutory rape. What is non-consensual sexual contact? Non-consensual sexual contact is the intentional sexual contact of the breasts, genitals, buttocks, or groin of another, or intentional contact of another with any of these body parts, or making another touch you or themselves with or on any of these body parts without consent. Sexual exploitation is an act or acts attempted or committed by a person for sexual gratification, financial gain, or advancement through the abuse or exploitation of another person's sexuality. Sexual exploitation, for example, can include but is not limited to invasion of sexual privacy or observing a person without their consent. It can include non-consensual digital, video, or audio recording of nudity or sexual activity. Sexual exploitation can also include the unauthorized sharing or distribution of digital, video, or audio recording of nudity or sexual activity. It can also include knowingly exposing someone to or transmitting an STI, STD, or HIV to another person without their knowledge. And it can include intentionally or recklessly exposing one's genitals in non-consensual circumstances or inducing another to expose their genitals. An integral concept to understanding your rights is the definition of consent. Consent is clear, knowing, and voluntary words or actions that give permission for specific sexual activity. Consent is informed in that parties have information and an understanding of the sexual activity that is occurring. Consent is freely given in that there is no pressure, coercion, intimidation, threat, or force to engage in sexual activity. Consent is actively given, meaning there is engagement in sexual activity, and it is mutually understandable, meaning that parties expressed in words or actions their willingness or agreement to sexual activity. Sexual activity with someone you know To be or should know to be incapacitated can never be consensual. An individual who is incapacitated cannot consent. Incapacitation is the inability temporarily or permanently to give consent or communicate unwillingness because an individual is mentally and/or physically helpless, unconscious, asleep, or unaware that the sexual activity is occurring. Where alcohol or other drugs are involved, incapacitation is a state beyond drunkenness, intoxication, or impairment. Dating violence includes any act of violence or threatened act of violence against a person who is or has been involved with a sexual or dating relationship with that person. It may involve one act or an ongoing pattern of behavior. It can also encompass a broad range of behavior, such as threats, assault, property damage, violence or the threat of violence to oneself, one's sexual or romantic partner, or to the family members or friends of the sexual or romantic partner. Domestic violence includes crimes of violence committed against a person by either a current or former spouse or intimate partner of the person, or a person with whom the individual shares a child, or a person who is or has cohabitated with the complainant as a spouse, or a person similarly situated to a spouse of the complainant, or any other person, adult or child, against whom the complainant is protected under Pennsylvania's domestic and family violence laws. What is stalking? Stalking is a course of conduct directed toward another person that could be reasonably regarded as likely to alarm, harass, or cause fear of harm or injury to that person, or to a third party such as a roommate or a friend of that individual. Stalking includes the concept of cyber stalking, which is a particular form of stalking in which electronic media such as the internet, social networks, blogs, cell phones, texts, or other similar devices or forms of contact are used. Stalking and cyberstalking may involve persons who are known to one another or have an intimate or sexual relationship, or may involve persons not known to one another. What is retaliation? Retaliation is any adverse action or threatened action taken or made personally or through a third party against any individual who engages with the Title IX and Sexual Respect Office or the resolution process. For example, any threatened or adverse action taken or made by groups or an individual against a reporting party, complainant, respondent, or a witness is strictly prohibited. Retaliation includes acts such as threatening, intimidating, or harassing conduct that would discourage a reasonable person from seeking services or accommodations, from reporting sexual or gender-based misconduct, or participating in the resolution process as a reporting party, complainant, respondent, witness, or advisor. Dickinson College offers a free confidential advocacy hotline to our students and employees. The hotline is staffed by professional licensed counselors at the YWCA who can provide support and information to individuals who have experienced sexual assault or harassment. There are several other services that you can contact both on campus and off campus. For students, we do have our on-campus wellness center that includes health services, counseling, and psychiatric services. We also have confidential resources for employees through the Employee Assistance Program and Reliance. You can also contact off-campus confidential support and services, such as the Domestic Violence Services of Cumberland and Perry counties. And finally, you can also contact the Sexual Violence Legal Assistance Project. Survivors of rape and sexual assault often have questions and face legal concerns, including navigating the criminal justice system, their safety, employment, housing, and immigration status. The Sexual Violence Legal Assistant Project connects you with free, holistic legal advice and short-term representation. Please remember that if you experience any of these forms of sexual misconduct, the Title IX team in the Title IX and Sexual Respect Office can help you get the support services and resources you need, explain your options, and provide you with assistance. Our goals include to support your safety, prevent incidents from recurring, and remedy their effects. Together, we can make our campus a safe, healthy, and fair environment for all Dickinson College students and employees to live, work, and learn. Thank you.